All right, welcome back to another episode of the Business Freedom Podcast, powered by Real Estate B School. And today, I could not be more excited. I've got Christina Valkanoff out of Raleigh, North Carolina on the show. What's up, Christina?
Hi, Lars. I'm excited to be here today.
Awesome. So before we get into it, Christina Valkanoff, are you prepared to share the good, the bad, and the ugly about your business growth journey?
Yes.
All right, that was a pause. I like it because you're going to be sincere, and I know you're going to bring it for us. Christina, tell us a little bit about yourself personally. I mean, it's helpful for our listeners to really get a sense of the person behind the business. So just share a little bit about your personal, just what you got going on personally, and then a quick overview of your real estate business.
Yes, I am from a small town in North Carolina, born and raised in North Carolina. I got my real estate license when I was 18. I have just celebrated my 10th anniversary with my husband, and we have 3 children. They are 3, 4, and 7. And my husband and I live incredibly high entrepreneurial lives. He owns a company, and so do I. I own my real estate company. And we're always, feeding off of each other, and our household's full of energy. In terms of my business, I got my license when I was 18, and then went to college, sold through college, then started my own company after college. First year in business, I won Realtor Magazine's top 30 under 30 in the country, and then have just grown from there.
Awesome. And you've been practicing real estate for 6 years now?
No. Yes, absolutely. Yes, we'll say that. Yes.
Thanks for that. Let's start off with, to kind of get the motivational ball rolling here. Let's start off with a success quote. Is there some kind of, quote or words that you've held on to over the years as you've kind of, built this real estate business?
There are a lot of quotes and a lot of motivational pieces that I use regularly in my life, but one I said this morning that I constantly say to my team, and I said it to my team this morning when they didn't want to do their calls in front of each other. I said, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you always had. And that's a quote that has always stayed true in my business. I say it to myself, I say it to my team, and, getting outside of that comfort zone and doing the same thing over and over again, there is some really good pieces to getting out of that comfort zone and doing things differently.
That's awesome. So let's go back. Let's try to break down the phases of your growth. So it's likely you started out as a solo agent and then you added some leverage, maybe with an admin or a buyer agent. Let's talk about the challenges, and we can really slow down here because I think it's helpful. Most agents really struggle to get out of this solopreneur lifestyle, right? It's working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, because there's nobody else to work with. So let's break down the life of your experience as a solo agent when you're first getting started, when you added that first bit of leverage, and then when you launched your team. So kind of talk about the challenges moving through those different phases of growth.
So when I started my real estate career, I was very young. So I didn't have a family. I didn't have a lot of people that needed my time. So I was fortunate in that aspect that I could work whenever and however much, but you can't sustain that. And if you started in real estate when you do have a family, that's very hard. So I was selling about 65 houses by myself with no admin, no nothing. It was just me. And I literally worked sun up to sundown. Everywhere I was selling a house. I was on my phone. And I loved it. It was great because that's all I had. And then I met my husband, and all of a sudden I didn't want to be working 24/7, and I wanted to be spending some time and have a little time off. So it just so happened that I met Susan, who was my first admin. She worked with me for 10 years. And I met her, and she came on to work for me like 5 to 10 hours a week. It turned into an 80-hour a week thing. And I just grew from there. So I added her the admin piece first, just to take a lot of the contract processing and things off my plate. And then I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then I just started growing from there.
So what was your, so Susan was the first point of leverage. What was your Did your hours get a little bit better at that point? Were you just focused on more selling? Because this is pre-kids, right?
Pre-kids, pre-marriage. Um, yes. So then with an admin, I started doing close to 80 transactions because she was taking so much off my plate. But again, I just filled my time with more sales instead of um, the admin side. So I took the admin side off and then added back on top sales side. I say 80, maybe 70, 75, somewhere between there. I added 10 to 15 more transactions.
And then what was the next phase of growth for you? Was it additional admin? Was it like systems and marketing? What was like the next big leverage point? And was it buyer's agents? Was it letting agents into your world?
At that point, I had really great systems in place. I started my career with systems in place because I started at a company, Keller Williams, where they just ingrained that in you of starting systematically and having the systems in place. So before I was really selling that much in terms of real estate, I already had systems in place. And so Susan just took them and improved them for me and with me. And then my next hire was a buyer's agent, and she's still with me now as well. Susan's retired, but my first buyer agent hire is still with me. So I hired a buyer's agent.
And then what will the production of the team do this year? What does it look like this year?
We're on pace to do about 50 million.
Okay, so 50 million, and comparing it with life before the team, what does your typical week schedule look like now? What are your hours now? How much hours are you putting in now?
So funny. My husband and I were talking about this. I have a completely different life now than I even had 3 years ago. So I have a very set schedule of when I'm in the office. I get in the office no later than 8:30. I'm typically there about 8:15. And then it's new business development for the first hour with my team. Then I have theme days of which day is for what. So today's team focus day, Mondays always are, and then financial days and things like that. So typically I'm in the office from 8:15, 8:30 until at least 1 o'clock. And then I won't do any face-to-face appointments typically until after 1 o'clock because I have time blocked in what I need to make happen between the morning time. So then I start afternoon appointments, and I'm home cooking dinner for my family pretty much by 5:30 at the latest. And then if right now I still have one night a week that I will block out. So we have a standing sitter every Thursday night, and either my husband and I do a date night or we each work. In peak season, a lot of times we work a lot of those Thursday nights, but as we turn into like fall and winter, we have a lot more date nights. And very hard pressed to get me to do something after hours other than a Thursday. And I certainly don't do much, if anything, on a weekend.
So I think I understand, because I was raised by my mom, and she was a single mom and she owned her own business. And so I saw her, work 6 days a week and then, do all the bookkeeping and all the stuff on her day off. Talk about how do you balance being a mother of three, a great wife, a woman of faith, a kick-ass businesswoman, probably a great friend. How do you manage all of these areas of your life and do it with what I see on the outside is a lot of grace? And it may be a complete crap show on the inside, but honestly and openly for everyone that's listening, especially women, how do you manage it all? And how do you show up in these different areas at a high level?
So when you take and you look at a lot of women in real estate, it consumes their entire life, and they aren't really present in terms of being a wife. They aren't really present in terms of being a mom. And those are two of the most important pieces to me. And my business then comes next. And it's very hard. And I have to take care of myself first. And it took me a long time to realize that if I'm not rested, I've not invested in myself, then I'm good for no one else. And when I joined, the coaching program at the Real Estate B School, I was like, I don't even know what to do. And I mean, just the grocery shopping, preparing meals, the laundry, the keeping the house up, the carpooling, the doing homework, the doing date night with your husband, spending quality time with them. And then on top of that, gonna sell, all these houses and meet with all these sellers and these buyers and handle all their phone calls and all the negotiations. It's a lot. And then motivating, encouraging, running my team, being a leader there, at the office, like juggling everything is very difficult. But I've come to this great place of peace with it all, and I'm very purposeful with my time, with my mind, and where I am daily, and being present where I am. So I just have a game plan that, honestly, when I joined the Real Estate B School, it took me a while to get my head around it all, but little things like leveraging out. I drive through and pick up my groceries now. I never even walk into a grocery store. Leveraging out some pieces that allowed me to be more present in other places in my life is kind of what I did. I made little steps towards this, and now I'm turned around, and 2 years later, I'm like, I'm in a really amazing place and have this, I like to feel like, all together. And I'm very purposeful about the kind of life I want to live with my family and with my business. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's awesome. I want you to share one thing which blew my mind. We talked about a concept called clarity breaks, which is, for anyone that hasn't heard of a clarity break, it's like 90 minutes, maybe 120 minutes, same time, same place, once a week, no technology, where you just kind of unplug and you think about your business and your personal life. And there's a series of questions that you ask yourself. Tell everyone how you took me telling you that and what you did with your clarity. What do your clarity breaks look like now?
Yes. So from like 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock on Fridays, nobody knows where Christina is. And Lars kept saying, you've got to get this clarity break on Fridays. And I took that as time for me. And that was my clarity break. And it's so funny because we have a call on Fridays, and I'm like, y'all, I'm on my clarity break. And it means something totally different to everybody else than it does to me. But it's the little things that I'm doing for my children and for my husband and for myself during that time. And Fridays are my clarity breaks, but they're not what Lars intended for it to be. But it's been beautiful. So Friday afternoons are time for me to go do things that I need and want to happen and do for myself and my family.
Yeah. And I don't think I've shared this with you. My goal, the fourth quarter of this year, is to have my Fridays be the equivalent of your Fridays.
I love it.
So
I love it.
want to do a 5-hour clarity break where nobody knows where I am for 5 hours every Friday.
Right.
I want to shift a little bit, and this is something that I don't believe is shared enough in our industry. Let's talk about some of your failures. Any business builder, somewhere in their journey, is some kind of failure or a point at which it's just a tough time where you feel like you don't have the next step in you, like you may have been knocked down. Tell us about some of those moments of truth in your business where it just felt like it was too much and it wasn't a lot of fun, or when you considered giving up.
Yeah. And very intimately that this has happened to me. You and Andy both have seen me, at that place of how can I, continue, and, getting to a place of understanding of who I am and what I want in my life and what I don't want and what was important to me was a huge breakthrough. And I remember being around people talking about their why, and I couldn't understand. I mean, I was like, well, of course, my why is I do this to create a life that I want to have with my family and to impact my community and to make real estate something great versus something hard for people. And I was like, that's my why. But then I really started digging into, I'm going to continue to do this. What does it look like? And why am I going to do this? And looking at what you want out of who you are and what you do on a daily basis is important. And I did that because I had made a hire that really negatively impacted me and my team for a good year and a half, negatively, immensely negative. And I let that person come in and totally take away what I believed in for people, and it just disrupted everything. And then I kind of took a step back and I was like, you know, what do I want out of this for myself, for my team, for my family? And looked at it and came out on the other side of, you know, what that looks like and who we are and how we function and how I'm going to function and what I am going to let bother me and what I'm not. I mean, some people just aren't good people. And I've come to realize that I like to see everything as people are good. And I had to realize that there are genuinely people out there that don't wish others well and that are going to be hateful and are going to be ugly no matter what you do for them. And that I can't let those people negatively impact my life and that I don't want to be around them and they aren't a part of my world. And so when drama and things happen in a transaction, I take that step back now and I don't bring it home with me and be upset about it. And I've learned to separate them, if you will, and try to just have a better place about it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is that helpful?
Yeah. I mean, so what I got out of that was, you know, be careful who you let into your world, right? So
100%.
people can suck the life out of you. And also, I think, has your business suffered since you made this commitment to, and how many, you work a lot of weekends still?
No.
So you don't work
I
weekends,
don't work
you take
weekends.
half days on Fridays, you work
Yep.
one later evening for maybe in the busy season. So how has your business suffered since you've really just made a commitment to a certain schedule?
It's grown. It's grown. And my happiness has grown. My team's happiness has grown. We've done nothing but get better. And it's amazing. It's great.
Yeah. Let's transition to, you know, where a light bulb might have come off, or you saw your business differently, or you saw the opportunity. I think you touched on it a little bit, but where you broke through some kind of obstacle. Tell us about some of those moments of truth. I don't know if it's applicable, but you had one of them at one of our intensive workshops where you literally left a day early.
Yeah.
But talk about some of those moments of truth that would really help our listeners understand, like, it's just real estate. I can't keep doing this to myself. There's more to life. Like, what were those moments for you?
Yeah. So I think as real estate agents, we are inherently super competitive, and it's just in us. It's our being. It's who we are. I think it's just a part of it. And I found myself comparing myself to all the other agents. Well, they're doing this and they're doing that, and they have this system, and they cold call 4 hours a day, and they do this and they do that, and I need to do this and I need to do that, and why don't I have that system, and I should do that. And I took that step back and was like, wait a minute, that's not me. I would never do that, and I'd be miserable doing that. But yet that's really great for my friend because that's who he is and he thrives off of that. So I took it, I was in this world of, I'm not doing this right. I've got to do this like so-and-so's doing this, and I've got to compete. And I took a step back and was like, why? None of that makes me happy. None of that is contributing back to my family. None of that is contributing back to my team. So I took that step back and said, what makes me happy? What makes my family happy? What makes my team happy? And who are we? And let's build that on us. And if one of my really good friends in the group does something that we can take and make us, let's do that. We don't need to be just like someone else. and or do it the way they're doing it. We can take it and modify it to what works for us. And I stood there and this guy got up, and I remember just going, it was unbelievable. And where were we? Were we in San Diego?
It was either Colorado Springs or San Diego.
It was San Diego. It was not Colorado Springs. And he talked about how he was never with his family and how he was working till like 3 a.m. and sleeping like 2 hours a night and doing everything he could to build this business. And like, I literally sat there thinking, oh my gosh, that's so like, what is going on with him that this is it? And then I self-reflected and said, but you're doing the same thing, just on a different level. And I was like, this is craziness. And maybe it was Colorado Springs, I don't know. Anyway, and I took that step back and thought, being number whatever in our market doesn't make me happy. What makes me happy is providing a life that I want to live for myself and my family and my teammates and my family at CVRG. That's what makes me happy. And I was pushing us to do things that wasn't creating success, because success isn't just hitting a number. It is all those other things. So I realized that I'm chasing something that I didn't even care about or want, and did nothing for me.
Yeah. And I mean, there's two things in there that I want to make sure everyone got. So just conventional success in our industry is measured by the number of homes you sell, not by the money you take home, or whether or not you kick your dog, or you do crack cocaine, or you're a devil worshiper, or like, it literally is looking at the number of homes you sell. And Christina basically just took an inventory and said, hey, listen, my faith, my family, my friendships, my fitness, like all the F's you could have in your life, there's more to it than just your work, right? Or your finances.
Right. I sat down, I'll turn to the page and the date. I wrote the date. I have everything. And I was like, what do I focus on? Like, first of all, what is my mind consumed with? Right. So what do I focus on in my mind? Then what do I focus on in my actions? And I was like, this is crazy, Christina. Yeah. Because what I really want to focus on is this. And what I really want to focus my mind on is this, and my actions on are this. And I made a list, and I literally look at them every day and making sure that my devotion, being a wife, being a mom, eating healthy, moving my body, having my Fridays, my clarity breaks, and my inner circle, my mom, my dad, my family, like all of those things were important to me, my team, and creating the life that they want. These were all the things. And then I was like, but what did I spend my time on this week? So that's how I've built this back around, is focusing on the things that are important and not on the things that aren't important. Who cares if we make the Triangle Business Journal book list? Great if we do. I mean, that's just a bonus, but that doesn't create anything for us. Yeah. So it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
Awesome. So let's dig a little bit into the current business. So Tell us about your current team structure. You do about 50 million this year. Tell us about your current team structure, admin versus agents, kind of break it down for us.
So I have 2 full-time admin, a listing coordinator and a closing coordinator. And then we have 3 sales agents. Jenny, who's been with me a while, Courtney, and Jamalia. And then myself still doing sales. And that's our team. We hired for the first time, one of my clients' daughters was really interested in real estate. She's a senior in high school, and they're like, can she come work for you this summer? And I thought, well, I guess so. Let's do it. It's fun. She has been amazing. And now she's staying on through the school year and helping us as well. So we've got an intern as well that's helping us.
That's awesome. Everyone loves to talk about and I know your approach to marketing is unique. And I think it's what you do is amazing. So talk about how you generate business. Like, what's your philosophy around where you get your business from? And I don't want to give you the answer because I think I know what you're going to say, but at the same time, like, how do you view new business development, or how do you get business? How do you do 50 million of real estate?
So I don't buy leads. We do like social media marketing and that's it. I don't pay realtor.com. I don't pay Zillow. I don't pay any of these sites to generate leads or anything like that. Our business is just built on primarily relationships. And this morning, as we got focused, my team and I, on what this week's going to look like in new business development, I said to them, here's what I want you to ask yourself this week. Can you grow your business 30 to 40% in the next year from your database and your past clients, period? What's the answer? Yes. Yes, you can. And what are you going to do that? Growth comes from past clients in your sphere of influence. That's where every year, year over year, every time we track it, that's where our business comes from. Now, don't get me wrong, there's sign calls, there's people that come directly to us, through Zillow on a listing or on realtor.com through a listing, right? Or someone who comes to us through our Facebook marketing that are kind of cold leads. But generally, I think last year, 88% of our business was past client or sphere of influence. So we focus on that. Everything we do is generated around our past clients and our sphere of influence.
Awesome. And what about lead sources that you've tried that have failed miserably? Any of those?
Oh, yes. Lars, and you can say you told me so. You don't even know this. I thought, everybody's got these ISAs. Again, this was last November, so almost a year ago. Everybody's got these ISAs. I need an ISA. This is what we need. I need an ISA. No, I don't. I know I don't. It's not who I am. But anyway, maybe we'll talk about that later. But I found this company. And they called and they said, we will call sellers on your behalf and set appointments. That's all we do. You pay us X amount, and then we are basically your ISA. Do you remember this?
Yeah. You told me
and
after.
You said, oh yeah, I had already done it. Let's just say they've done nothing and scheduled nothing. And it was a complete waste of my money. And everybody they even called me on, they were an hour and a half away. And I thought, if I've got someone that's willing to call, and they would call the people I'd give them to, but I never trusted them to call anyone that I gave them because they were awful. So that was a huge issue. I will say I used to use realtor.com. I loved it. So it's probably been 4 years ago now with realtor.com. If you bought a zip code, they sent you the lead and only you. So you got the lead, no one else. And it was beautiful. We would do about 20% of our business off of that. And it was had a great return. Then when they changed things, it was awful. I think they gave it out to 10 people. They say 3, but really, it just didn't work for us. So that transition was, let's get out of realtor.com completely. But it used to be something that was very good for us. But I will tell you, I do not spend a lot of money on any kind of cold lead generation.
Yeah. Oh, we lost your audio. Oh, now you're back. Hold on.
Okay.
Yep, now you're back.
Okay. So we don't spend money on cold marketing. It is all on, so we have a plan for the entire year that is strictly sphere-based marketing.
Yeah.
But
awesome. And you enhance it with your Facebook marketing.
Yes.
Awesome. What's something you're doing really, really well in your business right now?
I think we're doing a great job with our past clients in our sphere of influence. We do pop-bys, we do events, we do emails, we do check-ins. We do a lot of staying in touch with our people.
Yeah. And what are you most excited about for the future of your business?
We've got a lot of big changes coming. My team and I are planning something big for us, and we're really excited about it. So I would say our growth and what we're planning to do over the course of the next year, and kind of what we're outlining as that growth plan.
Awesome. You touched on it a little bit, but I think what a lot of folks that go down this path of growth, and it's not the easy path by any means, and it stretches you in different ways. But a lot of business owners, myself included, we struggle with like enjoying the ride. What practices have you put in place to make sure you appreciate this journey?
It's about your attitude and what you say to yourself. So things are going to happen. Things aren't going to be pretty every day. And people are going to make mistakes. People are going to get upset. And it's all about how you approach it. And when mistakes are made, you can get in your own head and get frustrated and upset and down, but you have to realize that it's a part of the journey, and that mistake is going to get you one, maybe 10 steps closer to where you do want to go. And I was having earlier this year failure after failure after failure on so many fronts. And there were so many pieces, and I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me of, this is just a part of the journey, Christina, that's going to get you to where I am right now. It takes a lot of hard work to get to a great place of understanding the journey, appreciating the highs, appreciating the lows, and knowing that growth comes out of the lows. And when it's right in front of you, it's so hard to see when you're in the midst of it. But if you take that step back and realize where you are and where you're going, it'll help you get through it.
Awesome. All right. So my favorite part of the show, it's called the lightning round. I'm just going to throw questions at you and you answer them, whatever comes to your mind the quickest.
Okay.
What keeps you at night when it comes to your real estate business?
What keeps me up at night?
Yep.
Oh, and I'm supposed to answer quickly, right?
Yes.
Nothing anymore. I won't let something take away my sleep. So I used to be up all hours of the night worrying about things, and I just don't anymore. I just have peace about it, and I know that it's going to be okay. My kids keep me up now, falling out of the bed or something like that. So nothing.
What were you most afraid of when building a real estate team?
Failing. And the production not happening and failing. Mm-hmm.
What was the best advice you've ever received about business in general?
Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Awesome. Can you share any personal daily or weekly habits that you believe contributes to your success?
I'm very structured in what I do. So create your routine and make sure you book in the most important things first.
Awesome. Any apps or internet resources that you are in love with that you think you could that we could benefit from?
I'm very into Canva because we do a ton of social media things. So Canva, and I just started I don't watch the news. I don't like to know the news. So I just started, I'm going to try to find it. No, I don't see it. I just started reading like some daily things that, let's see, the Morning Brew. And it's like I just started, it's kind of witty, of kind of nuts and bolts of things that are coming up or things that have happened. So, like today it talked about, Amazon, the Amazon effect. And it gives you kind of like an overview on things, and like the week ahead, like the US Open tennis tournament starting, pumpkin spice lattes launching on Tuesday at Starbucks, little things like that. And so I like reading that before I get started. I try never to check my email or text messages or anything until after my kids get out of the car. So I'm completely focused on my family until that time comes. So apps, Canva, the Morning Brew. I track what I eat, what I drink, and what I do on LifeSum, and it reminds me. So I try to be conscious of where I am daily, and I forget to eat lunch, and so it reminds me, eat lunch, eat lunch, eat lunch. So things like that. But those are probably my favorites.
Awesome. As we wrap up here, many people in our industry, I mean, they're definitely struggling. Even in a good market, I mean, it's too much time, stress in the business. What are some words of encouragement for someone that's looking to grow? What can you give someone out there that's struggling right now?
If you are struggling in how to make it all happen and figuring out this crazy real estate life and this crazy real estate world, remember that is just not that important. It is, but what's really important. And then structure your real estate life around it. And, that deal that's blowing up, will you even remember it 30 days from now? So just remember what and how you spend your energy, and spend it on the things that do matter. And of course, give it your attention and try to do all you can to make it right, because that's who you are. But just remember that losing sleep over something like that you can't control, then to negatively impact every other part of your life, isn't what it's about. And search for who you are and what you want out of this, and make it that.
Yeah. My computer just went off. Christina, this has been awesome.
I thought it was me.
I can't even tell you how much I appreciate your time. Some of the stories and insights you shared were just really just awesome. I know a lot of people are going to get a lot of value out of this. So I thank you. Real Estate B-School, thank you. The podcast thanks you. I have a lot of love and respect for what you do, and doing it with 3 kids and a great husband, and just keeping your faith in the middle of all of it. So I appreciate you.
And Lars, I know you haven't said or asked me to do this, but I will say this. Real Estate B-School has changed my life. I mean, I don't know where I'd be without the group and the camaraderie and what it's given me. So for that, thank you. I mean, I am where I am because of the Real Estate B-School. So I will say I'm super appreciative for you and the whole group at the Real Estate B-School.
Appreciate that. Much love and respect to all of you listening, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.